What's Rhea? Wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you are enjoying yourself. So while I have my sketchbook here, we're actually not going to be working in it today, so I don't really know why I brought it out. I guess because I was going to initially do this drawing in the sketchbook, but so I have a sketch, and you may tell from how this video is titled what I plan to do. So in 2020, I actually made a video called Drawing a Cute Girl, and I drew this girl on the right because the girl on the left was already drawn, but it was a very early on video for my channel, and it was like me just trying to figure things out very amateurly, and it was just so crazy. Also, why did I sound 16 whenever I was in college? I digress though. But the point is that I wanted to make a 2020 versus 2025 redraw, since it was a pretty common theme for artists this year, I want to say. Yeah, I just thought it'd be like a fun throwback for my art journey and YouTube journey, and I wanted to do this with traditional art this time around. So that said, now you see me getting into pretty much like the actual sketch, and so for materials and all of that, it's the same old stuff. So you already saw the paper that I'm using is like that from that Canson pack. I really like that paper. It's like my comfort zone, like my go-to paper, especially for using alcohol markers, which is what I'm going to use because that's what I used in the original, and it's usually my go-to for coloring things. The initial sketch was done in the Pilot Color Eno in pink, and now I'm going over it with the friction point knock pen in pink. I always talk about how much I like friction pens, or this specific series of like the point knock, because it's thin. I can basically sketch over something and have it be as sharp as an actual pen, except I don't have to worry about it bleeding through whenever I use the alcohol markers, and also I can erase if I need to. But while we're on the sketch, just kind of brief a few things, I guess. So first of all, I put all this together pretty quickly, I'd say, after I decided to redraw it. Like literally yesterday, as I'm doing this voiceover, I did that initial sketch, and today, as I'm doing this voiceover, I did the rest of the illustration, like just straight up. And I feel like that goes to show the incredible growth on my part on terms of being comfortable enough with art and filming content to do all of this so swiftly. But that's definitely a skill that was built up over time. So, but redraws are hard as someone who's like, I overthink a lot because I'm never sure how much I want to add and change versus keeping it the same as before outside of like the obvious skill change. I think the most notable factor is that the girls are interacting this time, because I want to work on this a lot more, and for someone who didn't find a reference for this, I think it's pretty passable as like a simple cute duo pose, because every time I go on Pinterest, especially lately, it's like I just scroll through and I can't find anything that's like actually perfectly what I want. So I think that's the benefit of having a little bit more of a stronger mental library on different poses and stuff like that already set in your head. But yeah, I feel like interaction and expression as well, like they create a lot of improvement if you do any kind of character art, and maybe that's a given, but I do know a lot of us, especially whenever we're starting out, we just draw people with very neutral faces, and they're just standing in the void, like that face forward, or like the typical 3/4 view, and oftentimes it's not even like the full body. So it's okay if you like it, and I definitely still do it a ton, but I do want to challenge myself more. So, and on that note, I want to draw more objects, or even like just animals, like non-human things, because it's like I've done character art for years now, and there's definitely many things for me to still improve on, but just drawing like everyday objects and stuff like that in my sketchbook, I think that'd be a good goal to have for the upcoming year. And in this case, in this drawing, the object that I draw is the Polaroid camera, and the girl on the left in her hand. In that original video as well, I mentioned wanting to get better at fashion, and I'm sure that sounds familiar because I constantly say it, but as you can see in this newer version, I definitely update their outfits. I even added a bow on the girl on the right's hair, because I remember, again in the old video, I was like, oh, I feel like I should add a bow there, but I didn't do it, so I did it this time around. Another thing that I kept in mind while putting this together was contrast, because that's something that I try to think of, like contrast and comparison, especially if there's two characters next to each other. So yeah, just kind of like keeping that in mind. And you might notice that too whenever it comes to my color selection. And speaking of that, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with yuhhh or copic, so I did a very botched doodle of the girls and split their coloring of each marker brand in half, just trying to like map things out. For traditional art, I always highly recommend this because it's just proper planning to streamline your illustration and see what colors flow best together. It also helps you test the current condition and feel of your markers. I end up going with the copic markers because they just fit better on terms of like the tones, especially based off the original, not to mention some of the same markers that I used for the original I still have, so might as well use them. Though I was kind of like, I wish I could have used the yuhhh markers just because of the way that the nib is. I'll get into like that whole comparison video another time, but my coloring is pretty straightforward. I feel like a lot of this is just sped up, not necessarily to mimic the original where I was like cringingly occasionally speeding up the footage with no audio or context at certain parts and it was just kind of random. That's not what I was trying to do. Like for here, it's just the sake of keeping the video shorter, and actually that can be a good segue into just talking about the filming and production side, you know, because it's been like 5 years and then some. So I definitely would say that I've found a comfort zone for how I like to film and also what I know will be doable with whatever I'm working with. So like lighting, sound, editing, pacing, it really just kind of refines itself over time the more that you do it, kind of just like anything else. I mean, granted, I do have a minor in video production, so there was a bit of a brief background knowledge, you could say, but I was always filming videos on my DSLR, and honestly I feel like in current day it's like you're fine if you have a phone or like a webcam to film with. It's like, but if you do have a DSLR, I would say to take some time to play with the settings more and just kind of understand how they can help you with what your filming needs are. Because for the longest time, I didn't realize that I could kind of pause the focus and prevent it from changing without the lens being in manual mode. Because there's manual focus and autofocus, but if you just hit like the little AF sensor thing, or at least on my camera, that helps me be able to focus without having to like change the focus of the camera lens. And I also didn't have backup batteries for a long time, and that kind of sucked whenever I would be filming like longer sessions. I didn't even know if I had a tripod in the original video because the angle that I kept the entire video, it was horrible. But you know, eventually I found an angle that works for me, and it's not perfect, but I'd say it's a hell of an improvement, because yeah, and I'm not worried about like ever having to poke my head in the field of vision, because no matter how close up I get, it's usually like a almost straight down type view, and so I never really poke my head in because it's fairly close to my sketchbook. So, and as it always goes, I tend to say a lot that I'm pretty good at thinking of video ideas, and I always have a ton of them, but never enough time or energy for the actual execution. And so because of this, I've started getting better at like streamlining the process by thinking of what video I want to make and what that looks like. So it's kind of just like answering a series of questions. Am I okay with things being sped up or cut out? Do I want to feature a specific part of the process? What's the final product like? And what will I talk about? What's the overall purpose? You know, why did I want to make this a video? Does it need to be a video? Could it just be short form content? And many of you might even be jump scared that I managed to post before the year ends, since my streak has been rather inconsistent this year, and we know I've been in the trenches, so nothing too new. But that's another thing that I am hesitant on. I'm not really sure how much I should share, or more of like how interesting any of this is, because typically people ask about all this stuff whenever you're someone who's had a significant follower growth or things like that. And the elephant in the room is that it's just me and about 650-ish of you, which is still a crazy amount, honestly. Just imagining us all in one room is terrifying. But I'm worried about like yapping some general big sisterly advice and people thinking it's not that credible, since I'm just like this cryptid ghost artist. But I do still think it's important that people know some things, I guess. Also, I just wanted to point out for the line art, before I get into my individual tips of posting online and stuff like that, make sure that you do a little like test run for your line art and know which ones you want to use. Oddly enough, I was kind of like, I don't really enjoy microns anymore. I don't want to use them or anything. But I realized that I had a pretty large collection of microns, so some of them I've kind of given away or like re-gifted them, and some of them I was like, let me just kind of give it a try. And I'm glad that at least some of them I kept, because the micron pen that I used to I think I used 2 microns, because at first I started using a Tombow and then I was like, not really feeling that. I think it might be water-based, that might be why. But the micron, I used a dark pink and I used like a dark brown, and that definitely got it. Another thing with the line art is that I am using it in a interesting way on the outskirts. I'm like leaving a space. It's something that I see typically like every now and then with like certain Japanese artists that have a more cutesy style, I want to say. Sometimes they use it, or like some brushes even have that built in as a feature. It's a fun little like thing to play with. So anyways, back to my tips. First one, I would say have fun and don't overthink creating and posting. Like don't wait for that I'm perfectly ready type of thing before you start to like start a YouTube channel or start posting online, because like it never really comes. Like you just suck at the beginning and then you improve. And also it's like if you don't want to, or if that makes you like anxious, then you don't have to. I'd also say if you have like friends or like an encouraging group that you can trust, probably on the smaller side, maybe just start there on getting used to sharing things with people and enjoying the creativity and community and stuff like that. Another thing, or I guess the second thing, is like not everything needs to be broadcasted, you know? And unless YouTube is like your breadwinner, you can likely leave and just return at any time. I would definitely say to put yourself and your love for your craft first. Third thing, be nice to each other. Please, 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 please. Like, posting doesn't mean that it's an invitation for others to give unsolicited, ugly kinds of criticism when someone's like working on something and trying to figure things out. Like, it's a journey, right? Even if you don't like the way someone created something, unless it's genuinely harmful, which, I mean, you can always report it, right? It's better to focus your energy on things that you feel positive about. Lastly, I'd say you decide the rules. So if you want to follow what everyone asks you to do, you can. But if you want to just keep trying different content until you feel comfortable, that's just as valid. And it's likely better for you in the long run. I feel like it's all about knowing what you feel is for you. But there's a lot to be said about how social media shifts an artist's experience, especially right now. I mean, case in point, the amount of posts that I've seen lately about like artists talking about how heartbroken they've gotten over engagement changing or simply just being low unless they draw certain things. I feel like you definitely have to prioritize what you like, and I can't stress enough how much it matters. Like, people and platforms, all that is temporary, but your journey as an artist and like the things that you create, the things that you enjoy out of it, all of that is yours to hold for the rest of your life. And even now, you know, I hope to get this video up for the holidays and maybe get one more out before the year ends, but even if I just fully ditched posting publicly online, I would never stop drawing if I could help it. Like, it's too fun. I love it too much. I think it's amazing to just create stuff with my own mind and my own hands. Also, I know regrets are inevitable as a human being, and so I think that my main one was that I wish I had more confidence in myself at the time. And even now, I could probably sprinkle in a little bit more, you know, because like only we ourselves can determine our potential, and I had a pretty limited view. I thought that I had to wait to be told it was okay to do things, and so I would just be silently wishing and dreaming for them on the side. But honestly, as long as we're alive, we might as well do the wild things that we've been wishing to do, you know? If you fall, then fall forward. Sorry, I've been rereading IQ because it's like probably one of my favorite franchises, but sorry, I don't really have anything to say for the actual drawing itself. Like, it's likely because I did it so fast and I have no idea what this semi-chibi style is. Like, there's a lot that's left pretty crude in the end, and honestly, I feel like that's okay. Like, I'm getting better at just letting all the nitpicky details go, because it's not that serious. There's always another drawing, so as long as you enjoyed the process or you learned something, it's really no worries. But I hope you guys like how the redraw came out. It's not like perfect, and again, it's like a more chibi-esque, very simplified style, which isn't like my go-to, but it is like something that I've wanted to experiment with. So yeah, it is kind of odd. There's so many different like stylistic choices to make. Also, me trying to put together like this background and everything like that, I was fighting for my life because that washi tape hated me. So I end up replacing it in the end anyways. But that's all for me. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed your time here today, you can let me know by leaving a like. If you're interested to see more of my content, you can always check out my other videos and subscribe. For reference, if you're new, I am Rhea or Etheria, and I like making art and art-related content on my channel. And while my posting schedule is in the void, I'll do my best. So thank you for your support of any kind. Until next time, once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I wish you a nice rest of your day, week, and holiday season. Take care.